In this video, we are going to talk about and explain the concept of dynamic equilibrium in systems thinking. The way we perceive equilibrium in real world, or the way we have been trained and taught to perceive equilibrium in real world, is equilibrium is a state of no change. It is a constant straight line. And then all efforts are made to bring systems into this state of equilibrium, a state of no change, a state of achieving the desired goal all the time, every time. But few realize that life is made up of uncertainty and dynamics which are mostly out of equilibrium. The nature sustains itself through dynamics which are out of equilibrium. Let's take an example. Say on a lay of land, there is a population of foxes and rabbit, and of course there is vegetation. Foxes eat rabbits. They hunt and eat rabbits, and that's how they can support their own population, feed themselves, and perhaps grow. As foxes continue to hunt rabbits, over time, the rabbit population reduces. As the rabbit population reduces, there are fewer rabbits available for foxes to hunt. And that leads to a reduction in the amount of rabbits being hunted by foxes. Now that, in some sense, restricts the growth of fox population. And thus, it creates a balancing feedback loop which restricts the growth of fox population and leads to a correction. And thus, the population of foxes moves in a dynamic equilibrium. It moves up and down, up and down, up and down, and not in a straight line, or it is not constant. Similarly, if we expand this concept, then the rabbit population is dependent on the vegetation. They eat vegetation, and that's how they survive and support themselves. But if rabbits continue to eat vegetation and in absence of foxes, over time the rabbit population can flourish and reduce the amount of vegetation. As vegetation is reduced, less vegetation is available for rabbits to eat, and that leads to a correction in the population of rabbits. Thereby, the rabbit population is also in a moving equilibrium or in a dynamic equilibrium. In ecosystem, stocks of populations are growing and degrowing, growing and degrowing itself. But somewhere in between, they are able to maintain this delicate balance and overall maintain the health of the ecosystem. Thus, in real world, things are not always in a straight line or constant as we perceive them to be, or we want to perceive them to be in equilibrium. Hence, it is important to move away from the binary view of things are in equilibrium and out of equilibrium towards embracing a more broader view, which means things could be in dynamic equilibrium. And perhaps things must be in dynamic equilibrium to maintain the health of the system. Time delays, which are real things which you observe in real world, play a big role in creating this dynamics of change. And through a set of feedback loops, especially balancing feedback loops, the system is able to self-govern and maintain its own health. So please observe these patterns in your real world. Next time you're sitting in an air-conditioned room, observe the changes in your room temperature when you switch on the AC and see if you're able to observe a pattern over time which produces a similar behavior of a dynamic equilibrium. And as you do this more, you would be surprised on how many such observations of dynamic equilibrium you can come up with. So enjoy this exercise and see the world around yourself through this lens of dance of change. Thank you.